everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. So, today's guest speaker is Dr. Safina. A very warm welcome to you, Doctor.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kanika.
So, to introduce Dr. Safina has completed her MBBS in 2022. Doctor is also preparing for her PLAB exam. Along with that, Doctor has written her IELTS exam, which she cleared in her first attempt. You can see her scores on the screen. So, as we all know today, we'll be having a 60 minutes of crash course on how to how to crack your IELTS. So I am really excited to host the session today. I hope you all are also excited to talk with Doctor. So at the all the questions will be answered at the end of the session. You can put all your questions in a Q&A section visible on your screen. At the end of the session, we will be sharing a feedback form. Please do give your valuable feedback to us.
Right.
Doctor, you can share your screen?
Okay, sure. Is it visible?
Yes, Doctor, it's visible.
Okay. So I'll start, right?
Yes, Doctor, you can take over from here.
Hi everyone, I am Dr. Safina. I am currently an intern. And so I'm preparing for PLAB. My PLAB exam is in November. And I gave my IELTS last year, October 2022. And the score has already been mentioned. I attempted it in the first, I cleared it in the first attempt. So I thought that I'll do a short seminar on how to go about practicing your IELTS and how you can ensure that you clear it in the first attempt. So I think most of you know that the PLAB 1 dates have been released, and it's coming out. The PLAB 1 dates are going to be released on 24th June of next month, and you have to register on the GMC website by 15th June. So plan your IELTS exam accordingly. I am not too sure about OET because as far as I know, OET is conducted only a few times during the year, and the results also take some time to come out. So it's best that if you can manage studying for IELTS and preparing for it right now, it's 12th May today, right? Try to give your IELTS, if you're planning to give the pen and paper test, give it before May ends so that you get your results in 14 days. But if you're planning to write the computer based, you can give it in first week of June, right? So I'll just start a little bit about the general. So I think before attempting any exam, you should understand what the exam wants and what is the pattern, what is required of you, what you need to study for it, right? So the IELTS exam is an English exam, okay, and they test your basic knowledge of the English language. So the exam has 4 parts: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Okay, LRW, people say that just for short form, LRW and speaking. So for the PLAB exam, you need to write the IELTS academic. This is a very common mistake. One of my friends did this, that instead of writing IELTS academic, the person ended up writing IELTS general, and that is not accepted. They accept, this is the screenshot from the GMC website, right? So just look at the requirements. They've said that you need to take the academic version of the test. You need to get a score of at least 7 band in each task, listening 7, reading 7 minimum, right? Overall, you need 7.5. Okay, so that basically means that if you get a 7.5, if you get an 8 in reading or a 9 in listening, so it's fine if you get writing and speaking if you get 7. And you need to get the score in one exam only. It's not in one exam, the first attempt you're getting 9 in reading and the second attempt you'll get, so you think that you'll qualify. No, you have to do it in the same exam. And the rest is just that you've given the authentic exam. So that is the basic things that you need to know. And for booking your IELTS, you need a valid passport. I think a lot of people, like when you register for it, you need a valid passport with the date, and you need to take the passport during your exam too, right? So that's the general idea of the exam, and I'll go through each section and tell you what is required, how to prepare, and how to go about it. Okay. Okay, so in the previous slide, I mentioned that you have to give the IELTS academic version. Now, the academic version also has two types. There is a computer delivered one and there is a paper one. So, a lot of people are confused. Which one should I attempt? Should I attempt the computer one or should I attempt the pen and paper one? So, here's a simple comparison between the two. So in the pen and paper test, you see that the result will take 13 days, 13 to 14 days it will take for it to come. So if you're planning to write it within the next few days or within the next week or so, then you can write the pen and paper test because you'll get the results in 13 days. But if you want your results sooner, I would suggest writing the computer-based ones. However, go for the medium that you're most comfortable with. A lot of people cannot type really fast, or a lot of people don't really have a very neat handwriting or nice handwriting. So it's better if you switch, like if you go to the computer one. Now, the test availability for the computer-based IELTS is more frequent. Like you'll find test dates available sooner, but for the paper ones, you'll have to check the websites for dates, right? And there's some difference in the timings. I mean, it's the same, but I think with the paper based exam, what happens is when you're attempting the listening part, they give you 5 minutes or 10 minutes extra for you to fill in the exam after they've stopped speaking, right? So what happens in the listening module is that when you're giving it in the computer based IELTS exam, you'll get headphones, you'll get earphones, and they'll play the audio, and you have to fill the blanks simultaneously. Like on the spot, you have to fill it. But in the paper-based ones, what will happen is you'll be in a room with a lot of other people, like 30, 40 more people, or maybe less. And there'll be one person who will be speaking the audio on the mic, right? So you'll get 5 minutes extra after they've stopped speaking, 5-10 minutes extra to fill in the blanks, because they've been speaking in real life. I think that's another advantage for the computer-based IELTS, because you can put your earphones on and there is not a lot of disturbance around you, right? And I think that's the major differences between the two exams. And if you're comfortable with attempting it on computers, I would suggest go for it, because it's easier and it's more comfortable and you'll be able to do it easily. However, practice for both. I mean, practice for whatever one you're giving. If you're giving it on the computer based, practice on your laptop, practice on the computer. If you're giving the pen and paper based, practice writing, okay? Okay, so now I'll just show you how the band scores happen. So your band depends on the number of answers you get correctly. A lot of people don't understand this. So for example, if you want, so the minimum requirement is a 7 band. So you need to get 30 to 31 questions right in each section. In the LRW thing, speaking is a little different. So in listening, writing and reading, you have 40 questions in each section. Sorry, not the writing one, listening and reading. I mean, in the listening and reading one, you need to get 30 to 31 questions right minimum out of the 40. And I would suggest you go to the website. In India, IELTS is being conducted by IDP. So you go to IDP, over there they have the band score, the description. Okay, for example, if you see this table that I've pasted here, it says if you want a 7 score, it highlights the requirements. What do you need to do? So, for example, you need to have a good command of the language. It's okay if you have some inaccuracies, but you can use complex language and you can understand the arguments well. So only occasional errors, and you can use complex language. Basically, your vocabulary is good and everything, right? If you want a 9 band, you have to be accurate and you have to fully understand the task. So that is how they judge you on the basis of this. This is for listening and reading. For speaking and writing, it's a little different, but more or less similar to this. Okay, so I'll start with the listening task, right? So listening task has 4 sections, okay? And I would suggest for you to practice at least 5 to 10 listening tasks so that you get an idea. And when you practice them, just check your answers, how many correct answers you're getting. If you're getting 35 to 40 correct ones, I think you're done with your listening task. You don't need to practice anymore. So what will happen is you'll go into the room or wherever your exam room or your computer room, and if you're attempting the computer based one, you'll get the mic and they'll play the computer will play the audio, and you'll have the task in front of you. The questions will be in front of you. You can just read it for 2 minutes before they start playing the recording, just to get an idea about what you have to pay attention for. Okay, for example, if you see the question is asking that how many oranges are there, so you need to pay attention. Okay, I have to listen to when the guy is speaking about the number of oranges, right? And you'll find tons of material available online, on YouTube, on websites. I've linked some resources, some websites that you can use. Just go and practice. If you're giving your exam in 7 days, for example, if you're giving it a week later, every day practice 2 listening tasks and you'll be done. Okay. And these are the 4 types of tasks that are given. So the first one is, as I said, listening has 4 sections. So the first section is a conversation between 2 people, and it will be something very, nothing very difficult. Sometimes they'll have, names of people. Now we are used to names, Indian names or Desi names. So they might have some foreign names, but they'll tell you about the spelling of the name, right? So you have to pay attention for that also. And just hear what they're saying and try to understand the question and attempt it. The second one is a monologue that will be about some facility or something. The third will be, again, a conversation between a group of people. The first one was between 2 people. This might be between multiple people. And fourth one will be a monologue on an academic subject, like a specific subject. So just go through these sections on the listening part and you'll understand. There's not much to explain. It's like, I don't know, but in school we had these listening assignments, right? In school English exams. So it's very similar to that. You just need to practice your with some audio. A question that was asked by people was that do they use accents? Like we are used to Indian accents. So yes, they do use British accents, sometimes even other types of accents, but you will be able to understand it. So, and for this, I would suggest practicing, because the more you practice, the more you'll get used to different types of accents. Okay. This is just an example of the type of questions they'll ask. For example, if the audio is about an advertisement for an apartment for rent, right? So in the audio, the person will mention the street it is on, the street number, what are the included utilities. So the person will be saying that the utilities included are gas, heat, water, electricity, phone. So you have to fill in electricity, right? So just pay attention to whatever words they're speaking and you need to fill that in. This is one, mostly it's fill in the blanks or answer in 1 or 2 words. Also, there might be a question like this: choose 5 letters. What 5 modules does the course include? For example, they're talking about a course. So they'll talk about the modules that are included in the course, and you have to pay attention to what they're saying. The main point is that in the listening module, nothing is repeated. Okay, so they won't repeat what they're saying. So you have to be you have to pay a lot of attention, because that is the only chance you get to hear what they're saying. They won't repeat the audio at all. So just as they're speaking, you have to fill it in, okay? Again, I would like to emphasize that you need to practice for listening modules. If you're scoring above 35 out of 40, I think you're good to go. You can go ahead, but minimum 5 to 10 times you should practice for the listening module. Okay. And if you guys have any questions about the listening audio, just put it in the question box. I'll answer it in the end. Okay, so the next task that I'll talk about is the writing task. So before I was attempting IELTS, I heard that, and I used to see posts on Facebook and Telegram groups about people telling how they have not been able to score 7 band in writing, right? And it's the most difficult task apparently. And I was also very scared about the writing task. Listening and reading, I was confident that I'll be able to do it, but the writing task, I was not sure. So it's not difficult. The writing task is not difficult, but there is a certain way of practicing it, and there are some tips and tricks that you need to follow so that you can achieve that 7 band. Like even after I practiced a lot and I consulted with a friend who had given IELTS and cleared it, and she had guided me really well. So in spite of that, I also just scored a 7. I mean, which is great, which is fine for PLAB. That's all you need. But still, you need a lot of practice, and you need to work on the writing task, and you need to get it checked by someone, because their input is valuable. Okay, only then you'll figure out where you're lacking and what you need to do. So the writing task has only 2 parts. There is task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is the shorter one, and task 2 is the longer one. Okay, so time management is very important in the writing task. So you'll only have 1 hour in the writing task. So what a lot of people do is, the mistake that they make is, they think that so they start with task 1 and they give in so much time to task 1 that they neglect task 2. And what they fail to realize is that task 2 has more weightage. So your focus should actually be on task 2, because that has more marks than task 1. So ideally you should divide 20-40. Okay, so 20 minutes you assign to task 1, and then 40 minutes you assign to task 2. Right? That's how I would suggest going about it. However, if you feel that you can manage it, then 30-30 is also fine. But to be very honest, 20-40 is more than enough. Okay, so I'll start with task 1. So task 1 is you have a limit of 150 words, and what they do in the exam is they give you a graph or a table, chart, diagram. Basically, they give you data. It can also be a diagram. Like some people got a diagram for I think rainwater harvesting or evaporation or something related to that. You can also get a diagram also, and they'll ask you to describe it, to summarize it, or to explain the data. Basically, you'll be given information, and you have to write the information in a very formal and in a way that they find it acceptable. I'll give you the format and everything for task 1. So that is task 1, and you have a limit of 150 words. 150 words in 20 minutes is fine. So again, when you're practicing, try to take your phone, put a timer for 20 minutes and practice. Okay, in 20 minutes, try to write down task 1. Okay. So task 1, this is again from the official website. So what they want you to focus on is the ability to identify the most important and relevant information from the data. Okay, just if you have a bar chart or a graph, just go through it and see, okay, where is, say, like you just see where are the high points, low points, what is something that is special in that chart, and then you have to put it in words. Okay, and you have to identify the trends that are there in the graph, chart, table or diagram, and you have to give an organized overview. Overview means like a summary of what is happening, right? Because you have to be very brief. You have only 150 words, so you have to be very brief. Okay, and again, in an academic style, this is very similar to the stuff we did in English writing in school. You know, we had like report writing, right? So you had to write a report on some information. So this is like that only. Again, this has less weightage, only 20 minutes. So try to wrap it up as soon as possible.